Hello everyone, thanks for coming. I'm Rajat OJHA and I'm the managing director of a studio called the Awesome Game Studio, and that's down there in Hyderabad, which is south of India. So the topic is gamepad to finger swipes. So why I named this is I'll just show you the game which we had done before our Wobble Bobble, so you can understand my plight. So this is the game which we had done just before this. This was a game for hardcore gamers, and that's why our title is like games for gamers. So the thing is that there is no failure story as such here, but it's complete reset of our mind. Um, so we are like 21 people right now. We released India's first PS3 game, which was the one which you just saw, and right now studio is balancing the work for hire and the IP based projects. So I'm Rajat OJHA. I'm in the industry for last 18 years, and after spending 18 years in the industry, I'm now a baby again, doing mobile games, which is something which we had never done before, never thought before. So, and my colleague is sitting there. He refused to come here. So. Okay, so this is the game which we released in June 2012 after Smash and Survive. This game is about hand-eye coordination. It's like opposite of Labyrinth. In Labyrinth, you have to move and take the ball to the holes. Here, you have to keep it as steady as possible. It's more like a drinking and the party game. Um, so, how and why we had to move to this new thing, the mobile games and all. We were actually part of a very big organization before, which had some changes in the schemes and stuff, which we didn't agree. And I came out of the studio with 13 other people. Somebody promised $1 million funding, which didn't work out. So, of course, we had to think of something, uh, Okay. Yeah. So we had to work on something on our own with lesser budget, whatever we had. So the immediate focus of the tax, what people call as the Awesome Game Studio, was to let the world know that we exist and we are an independent entity and not part of the previous organization which had done, because we were like kind of completely associated with that brand earlier. So coming from console background, it was challenging because we were completely ignorant about the mobile industry, to be very frank. So the major tussle was like to do something what we know versus to do something what we don't know. But something what we know takes much longer, was like you need huge budget to do that. Whereas doing something what we don't know, which is probably can be very quick and might not require that kind of budget. So the biggest challenge for tax was to think from a much bigger audience point of view now, because when we are doing games for gamers, we know our audience, we know what they want. Here, the console games generally, the car gamers, we know the vehicle combat fanboys. We can actually address them or anything related to that. Whereas in the casual game, generally the audience is scattered. Your granny plays those games, your kids plays those games, and they all have different varied choices. So it was kind of very new world for us. So this is the decision table which we actually used there. The main objective was to let the world know again. So console gamers are limited versus the mobile gamers, which are like enormous presence everywhere. Everybody here has a smartphone which can play game. Time generally like 8 to 10 months, whereas like in a quick mobile game can be like 2-3 months kind of project. Cost, of course, like $300,000-400,000 in India. I'm not talking about the rest of the world, and versus $10,000 to $20,000 here for the mobile games. Skills, we had these skills in our team. We knew how to do Xbox games, PS3 games, but nobody. Nobody for this. So publisher support is again very important for console games, whereas we can live without. We can publish on our own on the mobile. The maintenance, like fixing and again things take much longer versus mobile games. You can put out fixes almost every day. Monetization was never in our scope for the first game. So this was like a quick green light process we had. We collected 15 ideas. We had some criteria for that. Short and focused gameplay. Act for the device should not look like a port of some like racing game on this thing, unnecessarily forcing that. Should be played with one hand, should not like use multiple, so that you can just casually pick and play. Iterative, which can come out with a lot of fixes and a lot of new patches. Like Halloween is there, you can come out with the Halloween pack and all those sort of things. So we quickly prototyped 3 ideas, and then finally we chose Wobble Bobble because it had no learning curve as such. It was a quick party game, drinking game, unusual, and it was not a clone of anything. Earlier we called it Shaky Hands, but it had some double meaning, so we just let this let this name go. We picked this Coco 2D because it was like again C++ kind of thing, so it was easier for us, and it was open source, so we had no money when we started our own studio, so it was definitely a good choice to do. We outsourced the sound and music. The focus gameplay was very simple. There are different rings. You just need to keep the ball in the ring. The more you keep right in the center, the more your multiplier grows, and you get more and more points. But the thing is that there was no curve. There was no excitement after a while. So we had to actually come with. So the classic mode helped us to perfect the game. So this was the classic mode which you just saw, because we could actually quickly put it on multiple devices and see how it actually works, and whether there are issues with the gameplay or not. We initially checked on the iPod Touch and 4S, not on the older phone, so it was a quick way to get to know that that we had to quickly go and check on the previous devices also. And we had used imperfect formula to deal with, like it was taking the processor based like tilt. So on the slower devices, people could score millions and millions of points, whereas it was not the case. It shouldn't have been the case. So finally we used some delta timing. That's like my programmers can update later. You can discuss things. So we just, because classic mode was like kind of dull after a while, so we added curve. So this is like the iterative thing what we actually followed. We added different modes. Like we added the extra life brick wall, which gives the wall all around us. So the ball, you can actually freely move the ball for a while. It goes off. There is score bonus. There is star burst. So you get a lot of stars. You can just quickly pick in all those stars and score a lot. Sliding walls. So that's more like an arcade style. And flickering light, which was basically a negative pickup. But it actually, people loved it because everything was so positive. People wanted something, everybody loves villains, So this was like a villain in the game. Okay, so some of the things which worked there, the dynamic menu, which is not dull, the musical chords. So whenever you see those rings, so whenever you are moving in those rings, there are different musical chords which come. People actually enjoy those kind of this thing, and the short animations, particle effects, engaging music, and that nasty negative pickup. That's the villain in the game. So near perfect project because no major feature change, strong project management in this, iterative implementation, minimalistic graphics coming from that kind of heavy duty graphics. We actually wanted to focus on gameplay rather than the graphics part of the thing. revelation that if you have the awesome people, they will adapt themselves to organization need, like, because people who are working on the bigger things, they quickly adapt themselves and started working on something like this. That's why we call our studio the Awesome Game Studio. Great teamwork, execution, great chemistry within the team. Some of the quick lessons learned: always go with the iterative development. Gameplay testing can't be ignored. Give device to people and ask them to play and just see what they are doing. Make games which have short gameplay duration but have addictive gameplay. Mobile games are still used primarily to pass times. Always have common scoring systems like Game Center. Good to challenge your friends. Facebook, Twitter integration definitely helps. Make games which can be played with one hand. Screens, colors, and fonts all look different on mobile, so try them. Immersion is not possible on mobile games, so use other ways to engage a player, and that too is first few seconds. If they leave your device, they'll not come back again. Don't write too much of text in objective screen. It's not a PC or a console game, so use more of images than the text. Keep your overall game size low, quickly downloadable, because otherwise it asks for the Wi-Fi, and so yeah, no money for PR, so we use Facebook. A lot of industry feedback. We take like Ripstone, it's a UK-based publishers. They helped us a lot. Pro version was released, didn't sell much, so we made it free. So we didn't plan, but a lot of people asked us to have the competitions on the Facebook, which we launched, and we were very happy to see people scoring millions in scores and competing against each other. So Facebook was completely there. We are coming with the Wobble Bobble 2. There were a lot of different missions there. This is the Alpha Man. This is our very ambitious project. This is Pac-Man with alphabets, with different settings. So this is coming in March. Look out for it. This is a project for Fortune 5 company. They're coming with a movie, and we're working on 3 games contract with them. We were lucky that we just started our studio in April, and we got enough industry traction. This is a US-based toy manufacturing company. We have 3 years contract with them to make 8 mobile games and 3 console games for them. So this is the Lego kind of block toys. So using those, we can actually create the creates command and conquer kind of game. And you can reach out to us. These are different ways. Thank you very much. Just find us somewhere.